Hey, everybody, if you like martial arts and combat sports, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and share in order to raise the bar of whether you like Kyokushin karate, BJJ, MMA, etc. for the Drew Experience. That's the Drew Experience on YouTube, on Spotify, and iTunes. If I said that again, who cares? I'm raw. That's how it is. And I just want to say, this is the Drew Experience, the show that's 80% combat sports and 20% everything else. First of all, I want to say thank you to four people. First, KRT Tips and Tricks, the largest online growing dojo where Wesley Jensen and Darren Stringer are bringing together all the minds of Kyokushin in order to train during these crazy times of the pandemic. Also, thank you to the Martial Way blog, who contributes amazing Kyokushin content from worldwide, reposting and having A1 interviews on Real Talk with Shihan Terry Burkett of Ronin Dojo. Also, Kyokushin Shuffle and Forever the Student ebook, where Sensei Patrick Pinto picks the greatest minds of Kyokushin to see how they excel at their craft and do what they do best. Kyokushin Shuffle, available on all audio platforms, YouTube, and Forever the Student ebook online. And lastly, if you're a pro fighter, finding a manager is hard. Or if you're a Kyokushin practitioner that wants to become a pro fighter, finding a good manager is even harder. Luckily, Moments Management is the one management company I would recommend to everybody. Rene Masafapur and his team, who represents MMA elites such as Alexander Gustafsson, Gegard Mousasi, amongst many others, will teach you about the ins and outs of the fight game, understand how to invest your money before, during, and after the fight career, so that way you have money when you walk away. Moments Management, where care and quality come first. And my guest tonight, wow. So this one's been in demand for a very long time since I rebranded as the Drew Experience. He actually approached me. So this is the second time I get approached since, well, not the second time. It's one of the few other times I get approached. Yeah. And he is among the gold standard of USA Kyokushin. I've always had Canadians on, but now it's time to see our neighbors south of the border, because we have some amazing talent with a population of 300 million. He's fought in ring wars. He's fought in kickboxing fights. He's a decorated sensei for Kyokushin Kan under Shihan Tom Callahan and Shihan Hamid. I am very pleased to welcome Senseibob Buchanan of Forge Dojo. Welcome, Sensei.
Thank you, my man. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. I love when a guest wants to come on the show. That makes it more that you're making me step my game up, Bob. I have to make sure I deliver the A game, because I want to make sure that I represent my guest well, that I've done my homework, and I want to make sure that you have a good time in order to show that this is why martial arts is amazing.
It's a beautiful thing, bringing countries together. Love it.
Perfect. So, you're quite of a giant man, because when I was talking with a mutual friend of ours, Sensei Junior Russo, I'm like, how are the Zoom classes going? And I said, he's really good. And he was always saying good things about you. He's like,
that's awesome.
He's like, Senseibob is a monster of a monster. And no, not a monster, a mammoth, something along those lines of a man. I'm butchering the paraphrase. Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean by that? He's like, he's 6'7". The guy's in amazing shape, and he just kills it at ring wars when he's called to compete. So how is it that you found Kyokushin? Like, what was the story behind that?
So a lot of guys that I know have gotten into Kyokushin because, they saw a fight or they saw a specific fighter. For me, I knew nothing about Kyokushin karate until it was actually in the room right above where I'm sitting right now. A good friend of mine, Jason Franklin, who's also fought ring wars. This was, now I'm feeling old. It's not 17, 18 years ago.
It's okay. Sometimes I feel 2005 is only 3 years ago. Yeah. Don't worry.
Well, Jason comes in and he hops his foot up on the arm of my couch, and he starts rolling his pant leg up. And he shows me these bumps and ridges on his shin. I'm like, oh my God, what did you do? He goes, Bob, I found real karate. I'm like, I want some of that. But at that time, I was, I've been 6'7" forever. But at that time, I was about 350 pounds.
Whoa, linebacker, like a D lineman in like
Yeah.
NCAA football.
Yeah. Very out of shape. So I was like, hey, do you think I can get into that? He's like, well, there are 2 instructors at our dojo. You should come to the one until you get in shape, because the other is going to just train wreck you. I'm like, okay. So cleared with my doctor, and for me, like class 1, I was like, give me the uniform, give me the belt, I'm in it. Like, it was so much fun. It felt, in my head, whenever I'm training, there's this thin line, and I'm kind of teetering between, oh my God, I'm going to die, and I feel unkillable. And I love to walk that line when I'm training. And that's what I felt that first day. And I was hooked. And man, in a lot of ways, if it weren't for that first class and Jason introducing me to Kyokushin, and that whole experience, I think it literally saved my life. I mean, I lost over 100 pounds in that first year, because I don't know if you know this, a smaller, lighter, faster guy is a little harder to hit. And I was training with some beasts who could fight. So yeah, man, it's been a long while, but it best thing I've ever done in my life. Best
Not
thing
only
I've ever started.
I definitely agree. Like for me, so I mean, every time like the story kind of changes, like in terms of how I got into Kyokushin for myself. So for me,
Yeah.
I like how you said at the beginning, a movie. So Mo, my coach is gonna watch them, and he's going to talk so much trash to me after as fun, because he's like, you say Jean-Claude Van Damme one episode, and then you say Dolph Lundgren. So let me just say it here, and I'm gonna make a habit of it when people ask how I got into it. So at 10 years old, do you remember DirecTV?
Of course.
Okay. So back in the day, my dad, because we're up in Canada, so we couldn't have American satellite back in the day, but you kind of got it, if you know what I mean. Like, so
yeah.
my dad was very, very liberal, like in terms of like letting me, like, there's no structure. Like, my dad was a very laissez-faire dad. Like, do what you want, watch what you want.
Yeah.
You got to kind of trial by error. Anyways, so I had the Action Channel. So 2 things happened in this period. So 1, I saw Double Impact with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
That's with his twin brother,
Yes.
Oh God.
Yes.
Oh man.
There's that one.
Yeah.
And then there was Dolph Lundgren, who I first saw in Rocky 4. And then when I was like later on, so this is in 2002, 2003, when I first see Jean-Claude Van Damme. And I was always watching the Action Channel to watch like the more violent anime. I was always into anime, and like, but like, and just trying to watch the more mature one, because it was real, Matt. It was very real. And then 2005-06, I watch Rocky 4, and I see Dolph Lundgren. I say, oh my God, this guy's a bad man.
Yeah.
Then internet, I get on the internet, and I see he does Kyokushin. So I always saw the logo, and I said, I'll do it one day. But I was more into ice hockey, so I was more into that. So like back then, I could tell you which player got drafted, who scored what. Like, I have a binder of hockey cards. Like, there's a reason why Scott from the Marshall Way and Wesley call me Mr. Baseball Cards. So that's how I am with fights. But I used to be like that with like team sports. And then eventually I got into MMA in 2014, and then I just said it's either now or never. I register or not. First I did Taekwondo, which not many people know, but then I transitioned into Kyokushin, and it's the best decision I've made ever since.
I still remember when Jason said, I found real karate. I'm like, well, if that's happening to you, fine. Yeah, Dolph Lundgren though, when I learned, he does the same style that I'm learning. When I was younger and I had less gray and this was a little lighter up top, I would always like dream of getting the flat top and dressing up as him for Halloween. One day I'm going to meet him. Dolph, I'm going to meet you one day.
Same here. Like Shihan Callahan actually has hosted him, and that's the funny thing. So it's like one day if I'm in California, it's like, Tom, I love Shihan. Tom, you're an amazing man. I love everything you do. But one day, Bob and I are going to come to California, and we are going to meet Dolph. You have to facilitate that. It's one of our wishes we have. So when you listen to
this, on my bucket list. I will break him. Not really.
I had
Oh,
his
you know,
book.
yeah. Well, you know the story about in Rocky IV, how he legit put Sylvester Stallone in the hospital.
Yeah, that's not many people
Like,
talk about that.
it's like, why would you want to to really spar with a guy who's actually fought? I still don't understand the logic, but hey, it was a realistic fight scene because it was real.
It gave him the job, and that launched his
Yeah.
career. And after that, out of all the action heroes, because you have Van Damme, you have Stallone, you have Wesley Snipes, Michael Jai White. Michael Jai White, another legit Kyokushin guy. But Dolph has done really well for himself.
Yeah.
He did some like B level movies after in the early 1990s and into the early 2000s. But he's of the few that's really done like to have a renaissance. Like now everybody, even like this generation of kids follow Dolph Lundgren.
Yep. Well, he did what was the series? There were like 3 movies he did with Van Damme.
Universal Soldier.
Yes. I see total crap movies, but I love them. It's, good guys versus the bad guys. And then you find out, oh my God, the good guys are the bad guys, or what's going on.
Do you remember?
He did that Masters of the Universe back in the day because I was a huge He-Man nerd growing up. Oh, I need to make my children watch that one. That's
a classic. That's a classic action film. He also did the original Punisher. Not many people know this, but
yes, I forgot that one.
Everybody forgets that film, and it's everyone said, okay, the first Marvel film in the universe back in the day, I can't say it's the first official, but it's among the early ones, was The Punisher with Dolph, and it was made in Australia, actually.
Huh. Well, another Kyokushin guy that's dipping in the acting pool. Have you seen George St. Pierre is back in Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 1?
I don't watch that.
Spoil.
Yeah, but he's in there. He's in it. He's posted. He's like, I'm in a Marvel show. Like, gives this heavy French accent. Like, I'm in the Marvel show.
My wife, whenever I do something around the house that's just subpar, she'll say, "Well, what's that thing that GSP said that I love so much?
When he
I
goes
am
to
not
Matt
impressed
Hughes,
with your performance."
He's like, Matt, congratulations, but I'm not impressed with your performance.
Yeah, I get that one too often. I am not being impressed with your. Oh gosh,
that's amazing.
I think she said it to me last week. Oh man.
Without the accent or with the accent?
She tries to do it with the accent, and that's why I love her.
You have to be born in Canada and in Quebec to understand, because like I'm English, but like I understand French culture because like I have grown up and I lived with it. So it's like I pick up on it. So when you hear it, you're like, okay, I know how to do it. It's like, but it's amazing though that basically made George somewhat more famous when the UFC exploded, because that was in that period where MMA had finally like reached like the lightning in a bottle moment.
Yeah. Well, I remember he came up around the same time as what's his name? Oh gosh, the Crow, Dave Wasso.
Yeah.
Loved watching him fight. I think Wasso was the first UFC fight I ever saw, and all I remember is like him coming in with this elbow, this like 2 to 7 elbow, and thinking, oh my God, he's gonna kill a dude. Is that legal? And then my buddy's just like, yeah, you could basically do anything. Oh my gosh.
No holds bar, as they call it. That's what Cameron calls it. He's like, he used to in Australia, but because Cameron calls it no holds bar, because he's seen even the Wild West days, and David came up right at the end of the Wild West days, right when it exploded. So it's always like, people should know, it's David Loiseau came first, then George.
Yeah. Yep. Oh man, all kinds of memories now. Jeez.
That back in the day, Chuck Liddell was the face of the UFC with Tito Ortiz. This is before Anderson. So.
Man. I was just thinking of Tim Sylvia on the drive home today. It's like, man, where's that monster? He was huge.
But so after the UFC, he went to Affliction because so back in the day when Fedor was coming out of Japan, if you remember, everybody wanted to fight Fedor, and Tim Sylvia So what happened was Tim Sylvia had a falling out with the UFC because so I listened to Michael Bisping's podcast, so this is where I got it from. So Bisping was telling the story that before Sylvia fought Nogueira for the heavyweight title, he went up to, like, you know how the Fertitas would go tell the fighters, hey, good luck, you know, do what you can. So the Fertitas go up to him, and Tim Sylvia, unfiltered, just says, after this fight, he's like, you're going to fucking pay me. Like, he's like, you're going to, you're going to pay me for, like I'm the champion I deserve to be, which you don't really say to your boss. Like, I mean, even though it's a high, like, testosterone environment, and that didn't sit well with the Fertitas and White. So after that, he lost the heavyweight title, and they said, okay, you know what? You want to go fight Fedor in Affliction? Go ahead. Goes and fights Fedor, gets dropped within a minute. Yeah,
Fedor was... Gosh, until he got stopped, for years we were thinking, who's going to stop this guy? And he had that one, that like rolling, it almost looked like a jab coming in. He would roll it over and come over the top. That one punch, it's one of those things where, like, he does it every fight, and everybody and their mother, like, you know he's going to do it, but there's not. I think it's because, like, you don't train that punch in training or in the gym. So if you never work on seeing it and defending it, there's nothing you can do to stop it.
He's a very unflashy fighter, but he's effective, and that's what made him very dangerous. Like, and every time he walked out, never had any emotion, just like as if he's like paying for his groceries, just like, okay. And then he starched Sylvia, starched Arlovsky. He was about to fight Josh Barnett in Affliction, but then Affliction went under because Josh Barnett popped for steroids. So but Affliction had some serious talent. Like they had Arlovsky, they had it was Arlovsky. I remember who they had. They had Arlovsky, Barnett, Vitor Belfort. Anyone ever wants to watch like a swarm, like a fist coming at you, watch Vitor Belfort. He is my favorite. He's my favorite Brazilian to watch.
Well, I was trying to explain. I don't watch a whole lot of UFC if I know it's going to be two grapplers. I think it bores me just because I don't understand. Like, I'm not a grappler. And so when it goes to the ground, I'm just like, So I've been getting into a lot of Glory, and a couple buddies of mine are fighting in Lion Fight now. So I love the stand-up Muay Thai. But yeah, Vitor, that dude will throw hands with anyone. And you want to go to the ground, fine. But he seemed to prefer just trying to knock you out.
Did you ever see his knockout of Luke Rockhold?
How recently was that?
That was like 7 years ago, but it's like one of the most brutal knockouts that you'll ever see.
Pull it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Might pull it up.
Yeah, I have to pull it up right now for you. So let me just get it out here.
Yeah.
Well, let me just because I've got to make it up full screen mode here. So let me just do the. Okay, let me just share my screen with you.
Yeah.
So share screen. Okay. So let's do this. Okay. Okay, so you see my screen now? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so here, let me just get it to full screen mode. So, let's doing this walkout. There's Luke Rockhold. He became a middleweight champ. Watch this, kid. Watch Vitor. Let's watch this.
Now, Dana White's not going to come after us for watching this, are we?
No. It's on. Oh,
yeah. I remember that one.
Look at like a Kyokushin. That's starched Rockhold. Like it just kind of sucks because Rockhold was a very successful fighter, and but he won the belt. But it's just that I think when it comes to Rockhold, on the rise, and then just the way he fell after losing to Bisping, it's very unfortunate because I do believe technically middleweight, because it's like I'm a middleweight in Kyokushin, so I'm like a 185, 187. That's my one. Actually, 184 and 185 is my weight I fight at. But man, Rockhold was one of the most technically gifted middleweight
yeah.
I've ever seen.
Well, I always, even my students, guys I train with, they're like, "Oh, it must be nice to be a heavyweight." I'm like, I'm afraid of the middleweights because they hit like the heavyweights and move like the lightweights. It's like, nay, you got to cut down and fight middleweights. And saying,
no. Like I fought at heavyweight. It's not fun.
No. Oh man. Yeah, Vitor, gosh. He would throw hands. I haven't seen that kick in years, man. Oh gosh. But there's not much you can do when a heel hits you in the jaw.
No.
It's better than NyQuil.
Yeah. Very true. You know what's funny? Here's a funny thing. So about that. So do you know of the Brazilian Kyokushiners such as Iwatin Teixeira and Andrews Nakahara?
Oh, yeah.
Andrews Nakahara, who my coach knows and who I'm kind of like, thanks to my coach, I'm kind of friendly with Andrews. Andrews taught Vitor that kick. He trained Vitor. Yeah, he was telling me about it because Vitor goes around to a lot of gyms. Now he sticks at now he's more at say where Henry Hooft is in Florida. Mm-hmm. But Andrews taught him that kick, and he's like, yes, Vitor wanted to learn a spinning back kick like Taekwondo, and he's like, and I told him, brother, Kyokushin knows how to do the spinning back kick perfectly with power.
Yeah. Just go to YouTube, Kyokushin spinning back kick knockout. It's I probably in the dojo I'll say, hey, you know what? If this discouraged you, if you couldn't get this kick today, just go do a YouTube search and see that everyone started feeling like you did, and it will be beautiful one day.
Exactly. Everyone starts somewhere. We all get humbled easily. So tell me about Ring Wars, because Ring Wars is like a very prestigious tournament hosted by Shihan, Rene, Cruz, and every time I've spoken with Shihan, Rene, I'm putting him on the spot here in a good way. He's like, I'm down to. He's like, yes, I'm interested in coming on. So Rene, I hope after I've hosted Bob, who's represented, he's a champion, he's helped you. I hope you finally come on because it's time we get you on because we got to talk quality kumites and K1. But tell me about Ring Wars. Back to you. Tell me, how did you get started in that?
Ring Wars is, gosh. It started, I've got to do math. I guess it was 2000. I might get my years mixed up. 2009. The Enshin guys in the DC metro area, they had their Capital Sabaki Challenge. And that was my first full contact event in 2009. And I fought one of Rene's students, Nate Mensing. And, heavyweight division, I'm taller than your average heavyweight. So I have a tendency to sometimes fight with my hands a little low. Mm-hmm. I've learned to stop assuming nobody can kick me in the head. That was the first time I got just clocked right in the face with a roundhouse kick. I went on to beat it though.
Yeah.
But all the guys, Mike Phillips, was it Anthony Bracero? I mean, all the guys that Shihan Cruz brought down were just killers. And so we got the chatting. We kept in touch, and I guess it was September. The ring or the Sabaki Challenge was in maybe January, February. Ring Wars was in November, December. So I got the invite with my buddy Jason, who introduced me to Kyokushin. Hey, y'all want to come up to Rochester and fight in Ring Wars? We had no idea. We were told really cool trophies and fight in a boxing ring. And you had me at the boxing ring because I grew up watching wrestling. So I always wanted to fight in a ring. It was one of the most well-run events I've ever been a part of. And I'm a teacher, so I'm constantly judging how you set up your event and promote and how it flows. So it was one of the coolest things I've ever experienced. Who fought there? Oh, I think Justin Mancini fought at that Ring Wars. Yeah,
he's done there. He's done it. Justin, Vincent Michaud, Junior Russo.
Yeah. Well, it's Jason. So I fought in 2009. I'm thinking it's 2009. First time I've ever fought a dude bigger than me, like taller and heavier. And oh my gosh, that was a learning experience. I had a permanent bruise on my shin for years. I probably should have had that checked out. But the coolest thing, so I fought in 2009 against just another huge dude. 2011, I think it was one of Sensei Russo's students. I don't want to say his name because he goes by 2 names on social media, so I don't.
Is it Pat?
No, it's it goes by Gianni or John. Dark hair, facial hair. Fought him in 2011, and that was fun. He's another like big dude. I think I had him on height. But again, just another awesome event. Actually, 2011. So I fought one of Russo's students, my buddy Jason, who was a middleweight. I think he was slated to fight Sensei Russo, but he had picked up a training injury, so ended up. Do you remember Matt Payne?
Why does that name? Why do I feel like I've heard that name, Matt Payne? Payne, right?
Yeah, but Matt. I think he spells it Matth.
Okay.
The dude looks like friggin' Arnold Schwarzenegger from the Terminator movies. Like coming out, he had like a little crew cut. He comes out to the dun 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 dun.
Yeah, I heard you guys have your own entrance songs.
Oh man, that's another cool part. Yeah, entrance songs. The ring announcers. It's not a professional. Like you're not getting paid, but it feels like. I think if you're going to showcase good Kyokushin, you've got to. If you're going to showcase good Kyokushin in the United States, U.S. fight sports fans want something like Ring Wars. They don't want to go to a traditional tournament. I like them, but I'm the martial artist. My wife hates going to tournaments. She's like, geez, all day long, they're so boring. My kids hate watching tournaments. They want to go see just
the fight.
Maybe a little pomp and some flair, but they just want to see folks go in and bang. But yeah, getting to meet all kinds of Julie Lemaire. I remember watching her.
Oh, she's among the women's. She is amongst the women's goats of Kyokushin.
I talk about her all the time in my dojo because I've been blessed. For years my dojo was 100% male. And now it's not quite 50-50, but maybe 60-40. And I talked about Julie a couple times a month as just, man, she could put her nose, because I'm really tall, she could put her nose in my sternum and kick me in the face. She's that quick and flexible.
There's a lot, yeah. Every time someone stands with her, it's always the same story. Listen,
yep.
There are real levels to this game. You can say I prepared for Julie Lamar. I've done the training. It's like fighting John Jones or Habib or Valentina Shevchenko.
They're just at another level.
She's up there. Like for example, there was I think the dream fight is I don't want to say the name on here because I don't want to stir anything up. But it's like a champion in one of the European organizations out of the UK who's a heavyweight champion that everyone likes to talk about and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But listen, I think if she fights Julie Lamar, it's going to be a very tough fight. She might have the grit and durability, which is good. But Julie it's going to be like watching John Jones versus Daniel Cormier the first time around. Like that's how it is. Like Julie's just miles ahead. She can fight. She doesn't fight you at your weaknesses. She fights you at your strengths. And then that puts you in a situation where you're like, my toolbox is compromised.
Yeah. We're working leg kick defense and counters before we went on our spring break. And I'm big on, checking a kick. So if I check with my right leg, I'm going to kick you with my right leg. Just to let you know, not only was your kick worthless, it was so worthless that I'm going to kick you with what you use as a target. And just mentally, there's so much of the mental piece in the fight game. And the nice thing about getting older, I'm not old yet, I did Ring Wars 2009, 2011 because Shihan does them every other year because there's so much work to do.
Yeah.
I had to take a break. I don't know if Lyme disease is big in Canada. It's huge where we live, and my wife was sick for about 10 years with it.
Oh God.
So I did my 50-man kumite and then kind of called it quits from competition just to kind of try to be home more. She's better now. I had a fight team go up this past March for Ring Wars. And for the few weeks leading up to it, she and Rene is like, hey, this COVID thing is scaring a lot of people. When you come up, could you bring your gi just in case? I'm like, yeah, always, whenever I travel, there's a gi in my car. And then the night before Ring Wars, I have to check my messages. It was like 8 o'clock the night before. Hey, Bob, you still bringing your gi? I need you to fight tomorrow. Can you do it? I'm like, yeah.
Nice.
Are you going to fight? I don't care. I'll find out tomorrow. But yeah, that was probably not the smartest thing. I was like, we have got to keep this for my wife unless I win. Then I'll bring home the trophy or whatever. But that was, of all of them, that was probably the coolest experience because, and Vince Michaud was there. A couple really good guys were there. But I think anybody who fought at that Ring Wars in 2020, we all know that as the last fun thing we did before the world shut down.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's I know, like it's sad because like I feel like we're losing a generation of talent. You know, I don't want to get political about COVID because that's just gonna ruin like the vibe that we have going in the show and the energy. But I mean, it's a tragedy because this generation has lost a year from competing to get better, and it's like I think next year is when we'll see these tournaments again. That's just me, but the damage is done, and it's like it saddens me because there's so much new talent coming out with this new era now with the internet age, and you have like Glory on the internet, Lion Fight, K1, won championships, kickboxing. And we can't see what this generation is doing. Like I'm sure it's tough to see, like, because you've got a fight team too. So imagine the ones coming up that have so much promise. They've lost a year already. Like,
I spent a few months actually getting pretty discouraged about that, and then it hit me. Everyone's lost a year.
Yeah.
So my guys aren't behind. Like, sadly, everybody's behind, regardless of again how you feel about all that. But we're all behind, and so I've been trying a lot of just kind of. I hate to sound like Tony Robbins or like some
David Goggins.
Yeah, well, I can't sound like David Goggins. I have a 5-year-old upstairs.
Yeah, I know.
But like I could dwell on, oh man, can't fight, can't compete. But one of the coolest things about this whole pandemic, like we're talking right now, I'm training on Zoom with Junior Russo and with Shihan Callahan and with Concha Royama and like with Judd Reed, like my heroes. That didn't happen.
My hero is Sam Greco, and he liked one of my posts recently, and then Judd Reed saw I had Darren on. So I know what you mean. It's like, and then you think, is this pandemic as bad as it is, as it's made, as like we can make it out to be? There's more silver linings.
Oh yeah.
Than, I mean, that's how I choose to look at the bigger picture and the positives, and you couldn't be more right.
Yeah, I tell my students, I tell my students in school, I tell my students in the dojo, like whatever you're looking for, you're going to find it. If you want to find the pandemic is just a drag and a violation of your freedom, that's all you're going to see. If you want to see, like, man, this pandemic has given me opportunities, you're going to find the opportunities. Everybody's stuck at home. Everybody, like, I love talking face to face.
Me too.
Love talking face to face. I've never been big on the phone, but everybody will talk to you now. It's like, I'm so sick of looking at the wall or talking with the same people at home. So yeah, I mean, pandemic is not. I don't know. Part like the spiritual part of me is like maybe this was to get us all to slow down.
Yeah.
And it has. So I'm kind of when the world does open up, I've got guys that I want to take all over the place and watch them fight and watch them do well. But I also think, training virtually is not ideal. It's not the best, but training virtually is better than sitting on your couch playing video games.
I definitely agree. Look, I'll be honest. I tried a virtual class. It
Yeah.
wasn't for me, but I tried it. But you know what?
Yeah.
I have other ways to keep myself active. I have my
Yeah.
bicycle. My condo gym is still open. It has dumbbells, a barbell, and a treadmill. So I do that. And I go out for walks every day after work. I work from home, and you find ways to adapt.
Yeah, you have
as
to.
Cliche as it sounds.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, it's a reason it's cliche. It's because it works, and it's worked for a long time. So I'm excited, just as a dad and as a teacher, as a sensei. When the world does open back up, and we have, I think, the next big tournament we have, where all the countries are able to participate. I think that is probably going to be the best one we've had in decades, because everyone's going to be excited. Everyone's going to have this. Not that we have an overly competitive, like, definitely not like a machismo, but I think there's going to be more positivity, even more. I mean, Kyokushin is just, you can smell positivity when you go to a tournament. Everybody's friends. I mean, for the rounds where you're fighting, you're not friends, but as soon as the fight's over, hey, let's go get a beer.
Oh, it's so true. So true.
Yeah, I'm biding my time until the world opens up, because I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
I know what you mean. There's so much like I'm very positive too. As mentioned, I think, like when it's done, like I think now, like I'm getting ready just to prioritize to really do what I want to do, because I don't want to waste time with the wrong things or the wrong looking at for the wrong things and being with the wrong people. Like what I want to do is travel. So my goal is it's to travel to London and then go to the Holland. So London first to see Darren.
Yeah.
Because Darren's been super supportive. I just want to say, this hoodie is from them, so I know I'm giving another ad read for KRT. If you want their merchandise, go on KRT Tips and Tricks. They got really comfy merchandise, like this hoodie, which it was gifted, which I appreciate, but it's so comfy, and it's like people see it. Like, what is this? You a martial artist? I'm like, yeah, it's like I do martial arts. I'm just kidding. I gotta say that, but yeah, no, like I want to go there. I want to see Wesley in Holland, and then I want to I want to go to Japan. I want to go to Thailand. Like I want to do that. Those are the things I want to do. Then go to the USA, just like go to Colorado, see my relatives in Cali. But Texas, speaking of Texas, because you're in Virginia, Texas has a lot of Kyokushin schools that not many people know about.
They do. And I've only lived in the United States my whole life. I've never really understood how big Texas is until my wife, she spent a long weekend there back in January. There's a lot of them, but they're so spread out. I mean, Texas is the size of some countries.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get, through social media, especially Instagram, I'll get, guys will contact me. Hey, do you know any Kyokushin schools in Arizona or in Texas? Just Google. But man, there's a ton. I think, I don't know. I think the Kyokushin mentality and the mentality of your average Texan, I think it matches pretty well.
they work hard. They love freedom of choice too. And that's why it does very well over there. And I'm not going to, there is one fighter, he liked some of my posts from Texas. I can't remember his name, but he'll watch this and then he'll probably message me to introduce himself. But Texas, it's a martial arts hotspot, not just for Kyokushin, but for kickboxing, MMA, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Well, that's grappling. But Texas, think of the PKA days. You remember when the Rick Rufus days, where there was kicks above the waist. It used to be on ESPN.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't that was point fighting karate, but still it was nice to Texas has got a lot of that too.
I'm thinking it's is it Angel Ortiz you're thinking of?
Yes.
Down in Texas?
Yes.
Yeah, I got connected with him through, I think, Shihan Tom. It's like Shihan Tom knows everybody.
He knows every single person. He's the one that recommended Shihan Hamid to me. He's like, if you want to talk about Iranian Kyokushin, he's like, I recommend you talk to Shihan Hamid. And I had him on. That's gonna be an episode coming out very soon. Super nice guy. So it's.
Have you talked to Shihan Moji?
Yes, on my old show. Yeah. He's amazing. He's so charismatic. He's like a Henzo Gracie of Kyokushin.
He is. I've only got to interact with him once at a Florida seminar. That was my first and only experience training with him. But I mean, how many languages can he speak?
He speaks like 5, probably.
It's like I just feel like such a loser sometimes. But he is like technical. He just the way he moves is beautiful. Humble as all get out. Just all around great guy. Watch his training videos online, and he's got the charisma, and like people are drawn to him. So yeah, God bless him.
His dojo is a very, like, that part of Canada, like the Maritimes, which is his dojo. Then you have JJ Nolan, JJ Karate Biker, another jovial, happy-go-lucky guy. Like, JJ's been like such a big supporter. I just want to give a big shout out to him because every time I post something with Kyokushin, JJ likes it. Message me, like he messaged, and like I love it, like, and that means the most to me because that means I'm doing something right. And JJ's always like, hey, he's like, hey bro, he's like, hey bro, like keep it up, man. I love that interview, like you know. It's like I listened to all your episodes. And he's like, I want to come on soon too. It's like JJ's gonna come on soon. Like I got time for all Kyokushin Con. Like Kyokushin Con they've been the most. All the organizations have been supportive, but Kyokushin Con has such an openness to them. It's like and like they work with other organizations, which is really nice to see.
I mean, you have to nowadays. It's I don't know. I think everyone's learned, especially through the pandemic. I think we've all learned that like no one has the perfect way. We have to learn from each other. And I tell my students all the time, like, you know what? Getting your black belt, it's not hard. It's just easier to not do it. It's easier to quit when it gets hard. It's easier to make excuses. It's not hard. Just really do what your teacher tells you to do. It's so much easier than school. So, because my teacher would tell me how to do math, but I could never do math, ever.
Same way. I was terrible at math. I hated it. And even when I found out, like, I barely passed my 514, because we have math 514 in Canada. Well, now they changed it because they always reformed the education system. But it's like, I barely passed it. And I was like begging my teacher, did I pass? Like, I can't tell you that. Did I pass? So then my dad, I'm like, and like my dad starts getting anxious because my dad at the time, you know, God rest his soul, like he spent so much money on like tutors just to help me pass math because I hated math that much. And he's like, Andrew, he's like, you passed with like a C plus, which is like a 68. I was like, oh, I'm like, it's like I graduate and I'm off to college. Yes. I'm like, yes. That was the best, one of the best days ever. And then I had to start a job. I really hated my first ever job in bagging groceries, but you know, it was a good job at the time. It was honest work, but those you never forget when you I love how you said that you can teach how to do it, but not everyone's gonna get it. So
but I legitimately think so one of my earlier teachers would say, you know, karate is for everyone, but Kyokushin is not. And the older I get, I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that, because like even looking at our dojo oath, nothing in that oath that we say each class is like singles anyone out. It never talks about doing a 360 cartwheel flip kick. It doesn't talk about, you know, being able to break 6 concrete blocks with your fist. It like the whole idea is creating this non-quitting spirit. And I've got one student, so man, I've known her for a while. I was her 3rd grade teacher, and then I used to teach at a small private school. So I was her 3rd grade teacher, her 7th grade teacher, and her 8th grade science teacher. And this kid was in end of 4th grade year. She was in a car accident. She should have died. Traumatic brain injury. Like to this day, she's got a limp. There's nothing wrong with her leg. There's muscle, bone, everything is fine. There's just the connection between brain and muscle doesn't work. So you see, she's got a little bit of a hitch in her giddy up, but she will not quit at anything. Where is she? Oh man, you know what? She'll kill me for putting this up there. But that's her.
Wow.
When I was visiting her at the hospital, that's her when she was promoted to green belt, and now she's one of my brown belts.
That's amazing.
So yeah, I mean, if you think of Kyokushin as only the fighting, you're missing all the good stuff. So the fighting is fun, but it's I like to think about it, in our dojo, and I think most Kyokushin dojos have the same idea of, we want to take weak people, make them strong, good people, make them better. And if they can learn how to fight, awesome.
It's a bonus. It's like a bonus.
Yeah.
There's more to the Kyokushin. Listen, I love the kumites. Do not get me wrong.
Yep.
But when you embrace Budo, and as I get older, after I've spoken with Shihan Callahan many times, it's about how can you be a better person in your everyday life, and that could be someone who comes in with also what Callahan says about Budo. The guy I mentioned, one of the ads I mentioned, Nima, who represents Moments Management, said martial arts is not about fighting. It's about how can you make the dojo better, whether that's having a positive attitude, staying to mop the floor after, helping someone, achieve like a kata, or like understand a technique. It's all the little intricacies that what make the art what it is, no matter the style.
Yep. No, and I wish that would have clicked for me earlier. I think it's just something that comes with time. It's like now I'm just seeing. I wish I could have taught differently 10 years ago, but again, I can beat myself up, but I didn't know any better 10 years ago. I wanted to train up a whole dojo full of just killers, and now it's I kind of want to raise up a whole dojo of really positive influences in their community who are strong and who are confident and who, if they have to, could throw hands, but never want to resort to that.
Mm-hmm.
Starting to sound like a sap.
No, it's okay. Everyone has their reasons for what they do, what they do. But I mean, some schools are more fighting oriented. Like look at the Lamar school. I mean, yes, they produce very good Kyokushin practitioners. Their specialty is more kumites, and that's not a bad thing either. Like, because if you're looking to become a competitor, that's the school I'm recommending, in one of the schools in Canada for getting you ready. Like they have a factory. They know how to find talent. They have a system. That's it. You've got to rephrase that. They have the system. They know what to put you through, and they can weed out who's going to be there and who's not. Like they can, and they don't. And that's the good thing. They want quality. They don't want someone that's going to stay. They don't want someone that's going to try to show off. Because a lot of things we see is that people use a brown belt or a black belt as an aesthetic, and it's not about that. Because once you reach that green belt too, the green belt is like a make or break. It's not the yellow belt. It's the green belt. Green belt is kind of like are you going to stick it through, or you're just going to stay like where you are until like you feel, or just stay as green belt always. There's nothing wrong with that, but everybody's different.
Yeah. I had a student, he was a green belt for 3 years, and it was just one of those, technically it's okay, he was where he needed to be, but there was just I wanted a little bit more stick-to-itiveness, a little bit more initiative, and those kind of things just take time. And I've always thought of it never as a punishment. I would never withhold rank as a form of discipline, or I wouldn't let someone well, I would keep someone from testing as discipline. But I'm not going to dangle a belt like a carrot. But green belt, I mean, that is because my thinking is you make it past that point, you're going to be a black belt one day. And, maybe my thinking's wrong, but if you're in my dojo and you make it past that green belt, not only will you be a black belt, you'll be one of my black belts. And so forever you will be a reflection of me. And so you earn it. That's for sure. I think a lot of teachers too, and you see it very clearly in the jiu-jitsu world. You get a black belt, who cares? Who'd you get it from? That's the next question. Oh, where'd you get who gave you your black belt? And I think some of the stand-up styles, I think we could go for a bit more of that kind of thinking.
Prestige. Because especially in Kyokushin, because when I had Patrick Pinto, Sensei Pat, on from the Kyokushin Shuffle, he was saying back in the day, sandans were like 1 in 1,000 about something along. It was in that wording where he's like, not many people became a sensei back in the 80s, 90s. Now there's more. But he said that he's like, I think it's important that we also make it distinct, what's the wording? We want to make it special, because to get a sandan is a big, big deal. Not many people become third dan, let alone a second dan. Like becoming a knee dan is like.
Yeah. That's a big wake up call. So, but yeah, I've noticed that just over the years, and you can watch YouTube highlights of tournaments in years past, how some of those black belts have no bars, some of them have one. Most of them only have 1 or 2. Nowadays, Sandan, Yondan fighting in tournaments, I don't know if that's a relatively new thing or something I just notice more now.
There's a few more. It's nice to see. It's really nice to see.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I mean, because for Canada, they're both knee dans, but they have the level of like a sandan, maybe a yondan. It's Vince Michaud and Mohamed Chik. And then a legitimate sandan would be Sebastian Cans under the Aikeo Nakamura with Shihan Pierre Cadafor. Sebastian has fought internationally, and that's another one that's like, it's nice to see like the new generation of like sandans or like the knee dans that are capable of being sandans. Actually, it's really nice to see, because now you're not seeing brawls. And don't get me wrong, I like watching brawls, but sometimes I like watching that high level IQ. And it's a chess match. When they fight, that's not brawling, that's chess we're watching.
Yeah. It's the violent chess. Hey, how old is Mohamed Chik?
Mohamed is my age. He's 28, 29. I'm 28 as well.
Holy
29.
cow. Okay, so 2009 I fought Ring Wars. 2011 I fought Ring Wars. My wife got sick. I think she started to get sick in 2010. I should know this. I think 2013 Ring Wars, Rene wanted me to fight Muhammad.
It wouldn't surprise me.
It's one of those like, I would love to, but I had this family.
Yeah.
So I can't just drop everything for a weekend. But.
Well, Muhammad was now, like, Mo is, when everyone asks, is he going to fight again? Because, I'm very close with him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, and I train with him, and, we talk every day. The truth is, I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, especially Mo's, because, I really value and respect the friendship. I don't say he's retired, but he's just enjoying life, because there's sometimes, you have your family take care of. But back in the day, he was on fire. He was beating the who's. And I know he was that 2011 to that 2009 period to 2013, he was the guy in North America, everybody wanted to beat. Yeah. There was one story. Here's one story I have for you. Okay. So Mo's one of the youngest. He's among the youngest I don't want to say the, because I'm sure there's others, you never know.
Yeah.
But he is among, so that means there's more probably. He's among the youngest to ever get his knee down at 17, which doesn't normally happen. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Wow. How old was he when he started?
he was 5 when he started. He became a showdown at 12. But like the Lamars recognized that this kid, it's like, listen, like this, like, you want to talk about like when you talk about like why he's so good, it's because he had restless energy, but they helped him mold that energy into something better. And Mo is like, as I say, like I don't, as I said, when I compare Kyokushin guys to MMA fighters, like I would always like to say like Muhammad is like he's got the fighting style of Gegard Mousasi, the current Bellator middleweight champion, very basic, but he has the IQ of John Jones, where he knows how to change in any moment. He knows how to make like snap of a finger changes in his fights to get him on top. And that's where like he's really playing chess. And he's done like I've seen some of the fights. I'm sure you've seen some of his highlights. Like it's like when I hear people say like, I think I'd be like, that was him then. Imagine now, like,
for real.
So
for real. So he started when he was 5.
Yeah.
Good on him. And the fact that he got showdown at 12 and trained another 5 years without a promotion, that says a lot about character. You're not in it for the belt. Love that.
Yeah, I get this. Like, so he wins. He's going to come on one day to talk about that story in detail. So I'm not going to say too much about how he got it, because that's like, it's like out of a movie. It's out of like a Bruce Lee movie, how he got it. So the other thing is, the other thing is that like what happened was, like when he gets his knee on, he has a tournament like 2 weeks later in Vancouver. And goes and like he's bruised, but his body recovers fast because he's 17. So goes to a tournament 2 weeks later with Shihan Cataford and just wipes the tournament clean in Vancouver. Like, and that's it's typical Muhammad chick.
Gosh. Yeah, I'm thinking after my knee test, I don't think I was doing anything for 2 weeks. I remember being in a reclining position for a lot of hours. I do remember, so I was promoted on a Saturday evening. Dojo was open Monday. Sensei's got to teach. So, I mean, I was there, but I remember kneeling in Seiza at the beginning and end of each class. It was probably one of the most painful things I've ever done, because after those full contact fights, your legs do not want to bend.
No, they're like it's like gel. It's like Jello. Your legs are like Jello. Yeah. They're like
Senseibob, or not back then, it's Senseibob. My kids' class, Senseibob. Why did you make those noises when you got up? Sorry, that was Senpai squealing, having to get back up. Senpai's a little sore right now. What did you do? And I just rolled my gi pants up and just showed them the bruises on the shins and the thigh. What happened? I got in a fight. Got in a lot of fights. But
those tournaments, man, they really, not tournaments, but those like belt testing fights, especially for the stripes, takes a toll on you. Like it takes a really big toll. What's your plan? Like, I know 2021, we're 3 months into 2021. Safe to say it's kind of like a repeat of deja vu. We're already a year into this. So what do you feel is going to happen with Forge Dojo? Like how have you guys been persevering through the obstacles?
Man, we've actually we've been very blessed. I think I was one of the first, at least on the East Coast, to get on the Zoom train. I had a quick interaction with Mike Nanomiya from Enshin Karate. Quick interchange on Facebook. I was like, hey, I see that you're doing this. How are you doing that? I need to do that to keep my people together. And so, yeah, man, we've been blessed. I've lost 0 students since the pandemic started. We've only grown. And then, in our county, our state, we've been able to do live classes, with masks and social distancing, which still, it's not ideal. It's not what we like to do, but to be in the same space together, even if we're just doing Kihon for 2 hours and sweating together, it's been good. So we've had to adapt a good bit. But again, we could complain that, we're not supposed to do kumite, especially the kids class. Not supposed to do kumite. So we could complain, oh, we can't fight. Well, let's use this time to work on our weapons. Let's work on the bow and get our bow kata. That's something that we're lagging in. We're not supposed to do kumite. We can do pad drills. As long as you keep your same partner throughout the class, and we wipe down, and as long as we follow all the health protocols, which we do, because I'm kind of not perfectionist, but I'm just grateful to be. I'm grateful to be able to have live classes right now. So I'm going to follow whatever rules I have to make it happen. So I've got live classes going. I still got families who either have immune deficiencies or just have moved out of the area. So we stream live on Zoom every class. So like attendance weekly from this point last year is actually way up. But I got about 5 guys in particular. We're all just chomping at the bit. First tournament where we can fight, we're going to go fight. Mm-hmm. And when I say we, they're going to fight. I'm going to beat the sensei, unless my wife says I can go fight, and then I want to fight too. But no, I think we've talked about this. We can either complain about the restrictions, or we can use the restrictions as kind of our new boundaries. So it's actually, so my dojo, we actually came from another smaller organization. We just joined Khan. It'll be 2 years in August. So there are some things that we need to learn, and some things that Khan does a little differently than my earlier organization. So it's been a good opportunity for us to kind of catch up with the Khan standard. So yeah, we're just got my little fight team. When the powers that be say go, we're going to get plane tickets and hotel rooms. We're going to go. And I think for the first time ever, I've got students who are excited about kata competition. I'm like, sweet.
Which is pretty rare. It's like, well, not rare, but it's like when you're younger, you want to do all the fighting because you watch it on TV. Yeah. So, but I think everybody just wants to appreciate. They're going to appreciate anything more that they have. I think this pandemic really teaches you to value what you have, because it could be, everything got taken in the snap of a finger. Like March 14th, I remember when they said, oh, it's a pandemic. And at first, like, it's interesting because they made the announcement at noon. Okay. Mm-hmm. And on March 14th, a lot of us in North America are still working. Maybe we're like, we heard it on the news. Yeah, we're in a pandemic. Woo. Okay. That's what maybe a lot thought. I know I was one of them. I was like, okay, whatever. Because I remember SARS. The SARS thing was a big deal. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Then the next day comes and I get to work and the mood is not good. Yep. And that's when I was like, okay, it's like we're going to be in this for like quite a while.
I teach, one of the courses I teach is biomedical studies to middle schoolers.
Mm-hmm.
And that week, we were studying viruses, vaccines, and epidemics.
Wow.
It wasn't part of the curriculum, but this whole COVID thing and, having just come back, it was the week after Ring Wars, just coming back from Ring Wars and some of the international fighters not coming in because of the, fears over the COVID. We were talking about vaccines, viruses, epidemics. I had a friend of mine from the National Institutes of Health who studies vaccines. He came in and gave a guest talk, and the kids were like, it was that Thursday, March 12th, because I remember, Friday the 13th it all ended. The kids were like, so do you think we're really going to get off for 2 weeks? I said, no. I said, if we leave school for this virus, we're not coming back this year. And we might not come back next year. And they're just like, what? Like,
wow.
Yeah, this is kind of a big deal. And so now, they interact with me on, they'll send me emails. I still can't believe you were right.
My mom kind of, what's crazy? My mom actually kind of predicted this because she was telling me because my mom, all our moms have those eerie feelings, and it turns out to be true. At first my mom, I kind of blew it off. My mom's like, this is not going to be good, this virus. She's like, I don't like what I'm seeing. She said that she had I don't want to sound cliche or crazy here, but she said she had a prediction because she saw the pattern with what was going on in China, in Wuhan, and then she said in a month she's like, what, they're gonna make an announcement about something. I'm like, what announcement? She's like, I don't know, but an announcement is coming. Lo and behold, March 12th. So and then a year into this, I'm with my mom at her house. I went to go visit her. She's like, do you think I'm crazy now with that prediction I made? And I'm like, nope.
Never doubt your mother. That's the
Never.
lesson from this year. Never doubt your mother.
Never. No. Since then, I'm like, nope, not anymore. Because people were blowing her off when she said that. When they're like, oh, it's just something the media is overhyping. A year later, how did you know? And my mom's just like, she's humble. She's humble about it, but she's like, the shrug emoji.
Yeah. Oh, Lord. Oh, man. Yeah, it's been a crazy year. Crazy year.
As wild as it's been, we can all nitpick the negatives and all that. There's been more positives. That's how you have to look at it.
Yep. Yeah. At least in my position, we're all going crazy at home, but I've gotten to spend a lot more time with my kids, with my wife, because I'm teaching. This is where Mr. Buchanan's science desk is too. I make my students look at my championship belt and all my karate stuff.
That gets them to focus and be appreciative of the class they're in. That's a good psychology move, right? That's a good psychology move.
Every now and then, I had a dad, so the kid's camera was off, and then I'm talking about, I can't remember what we were talking about, but his camera goes on. I'm like, wait a minute. This is Dad. He's like, hey, Mr. Buchanan, what's that belt behind you? I was like, well, this is science class. We can take a break. So I just took it off, and it basically turned into a conversation, me and this kid's dad. And then all the other cameras started turning on. It's like, you do this stuff for fun? I'm like, yeah, pretty much. Wow. So, oh, man. It's when we're in the school building, I'll take that in and I'll put it on my desk just as a so some other teachers, oh, that's to scare the kids in line. I'm like, no, watch what happens. Without fail, every day some new kid walk up, how did you get that? It's like, well, come back at lunch, or you stick around after class. That's my best conversation starter as a teacher ever. It's great.
That's
So
awesome. Where and that belt, it's kick from a kickboxing tournament, no?
that one was Muay Thai rules.
Okay.
Again, I love being tall. Being tall is
It's great for stand-up martial arts. For striking, if you're tall, like I always
yeah,
look, I don't like if normally I find if you're like 5'10" or above as a male, you're
yeah,
gonna do very I find stand-up martial arts is very fun and it's easy to get into because it's
yeah,
like the height does help. So like I'm 5'11", so I'm a bit of a unit right now because of the COVID quarantine. You know, I'm at
yeah,
home, I'm eating, but I'm slowly losing the weight,
yeah,
and but I'm not trying to deprive myself because like everybody's weight's going like.
yeah, yeah. Gaining the COVID-19 or the COVID-20. Oh yeah. Luckily, so this is my work desk.
Yeah,
My home dojo is on the other side of the monitor.
nice.
So in between classes, I'll throw a kettlebell around or I'll knock out some burpees. But otherwise, I would be 350 pounds again because,
Yeah.
oh man, I'm at home. The fridge is right up there.
Yeah, you know what I
So,
do when I'm on break, what I like to do too, because sometimes I get two 15-minute breaks and a 30-minute lunch. On my two 15-minute breaks, I'll go in the stairwell of the condo of the apartment I live in. I just walk
yeah.
up and down. I just walk up and down
Yep.
for like 5 times to add up to like 2 minutes. I don't run because if I run, I'm gonna be like, I just walk up
Yep.
and down the little things, and then after work, like before we recorded, I went out for like a nice walk and just to like get my mind off
Yeah.
work because I feel like you can't working at home, so you're gonna have your work at home with you. So it's better just to de-stress,
Yep.
do what you can, and that's something that like I really learned from like Mo and my mom because like at first when I
Yeah.
got my new job that I have not new, it's been almost a year there, I was really always taking work home with me. I was like, oh my god,
Yep.
it's like I got to do good at it, and they said you got to find ways to really detach because you're
Yep.
working from home, so it's going to be more stressful probably right now. And lo and behold, they hire a new team just to help out with like the workload like my team has, and it's just been smooth sailing ever since.
I think that's not that women don't struggle with that. I think that's an idea or a challenge that men struggle with maybe a little more is just bringing the work home and not because I don't know. This is probably gonna tick some people off. I don't care. I think guys thrive on transitions, um, like rites of passage almost. But as we get older, there aren't as many rites of passage to those transitions. So we used to have that walk or that drive from work to home as the transition. Now we don't have that. It's just like if you don't make something, like if you don't have a kettlebell or like your stairwell, you're gonna go nuts, and your whole day is just gonna be work, and work's gonna bleed into your personal life, and personal life bleeds into work, and you're just a hot mess. So
Yeah, like that
good for
happened to
you.
me in November into like February. Like just there's just other stuff going on outside of work that just like led to like a big burnout and whatnot.
Yep.
But now like I feel like I have like a routine going. And I think that's the key to establish a healthy
Yep.
routine. Like you do kettlebells, I do stairwell, or like I go for walks after. I still go to my condo gym 3 days a week just to like
Good.
stay active. And when it gets warmer, I definitely take my bike out. Like I bike for like an hour, and that's gonna really help shed the weight.
Nice, nice. I can't bike. It hurts my butt. I'd rather do burpees anyway.
I hate burpees. I'm the opposite.
Oh, I hate them too, but they work, man.
Yes.
They work.
Yes. They
Oh,
do. They do. They do. Bob, I just wanted, well, Senseibob, I want to say, already an hour in, that's what I plan to do. I want to
yeah,
personally say thank you for coming on and, approaching to come on because
yeah,
it means a
man.
lot to me when I have someone, especially of your stature, wanting to come on and be like, when am I coming on? When am I, because like you were like, it's like, because as mentioned, you messaged me, which I really appreciate.
Yeah,
But I know I messaged you in the past, but then
yeah,
I think you saw the way the videos were going, and it's nice to see that.
yeah,
I think video is what I want to do. Yes, I
yeah,
have an audio version, but the video is like is what makes these is what makes this.
yeah,
I don't even want to say it's a podcast, or not even like a blog. It's a community I'm building.
yeah,
That's what I want to
yeah.
build. And what the video makes the community rise up, as
Definitely,
Sosai wanted.
definitely. And I do. I just so much appreciate what you are doing to. I know it's 80% fight, 20% everything else, but man, just the way that you're bringing people, especially in the fight game, together from all over. I'm jealous, man. When I was your age, I was probably hitting a heavy bag or something. But I just think what you're doing and the way that you're doing it and learning from, just the past audio only version, dude, I can't wait to see where the true experience is in 5 years. So I'm just humbled that you talked to me for an hour.
I'm going to be honest. One of the goals is to, like, when tournaments happen again, is to go and give like fighter interviews to the winner to make them feel valued, and like put those videos on YouTube, take photos of technique in action, so the picture does tell a story. So it's something I really want to do, because I really feel that's going to also help give relevance to Kyokushin, because we see BJJ doing it. I think what they can do, we can do too, and we can make it unique in our own way. So if anything,
totally agree.
You can't is mentioned. The saying is, if one person can do it, any person can do it.
Yep. So true. So true.
Where can people connect? And so guys, just want to say, that's it. That's for this episode. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube, like, share. If you like combat sports, it's on audio too. If you don't have time to watch, Bob, where can people find you if they want to connect with you?
They can find me on Facebook at Forge Dojo, and I use Instagram a lot. Senseibob.
Perfect.
I don't know how I was able to get that one, because there are a few Senseibobs, but I'm it.
You did it. You did it. So I want to say, man, thanks so much for coming on, and I can't wait to publish this episode. I think it's going to really put Khan on the map internationally, and then hopefully Shihan Cruz and Shihan Callahan are able to come on next, because those are the next ones. Well, awesome. Shihan Callahan agrees, but like Cruz is like he's a busy guy, but he's
busy, and he has some wonky hours too.
Oh my God, so. He told me. But you know what? The focus is on you. I want to say thank you for coming on. It was an awesome honor to do this finally again. And I think the video was like just way better. It's like the dynamic is there.
Totally agree. Thank you, my man.
Thank you. Let me just